Today we're talking about setting up Pricelabs from the jump, from as an absolute beginner. Like, what do you need to do to set up Pricelabs? So for those that are just beginning or looking at all these tools and things like that, Pricelabs is a software that connects to your Airbnb Vrbo listing, and it dynamically changes excuse me, the pricing of the nights, just like a hotel and airline. Like, you'll look at a hotel or a flight one day, the next day it's changed. So we use that exact same software on all of our listings, and it is 100% 100% worth it. It's like $20 to set up per listing. There's some additional things that we'll talk about later, but for those that don't know, Pricelabs is my recommended. There's some other ones, but for today, we're just going to be talking about that one. So I appreciate everybody jumping on. I see a couple people right now. Drop your questions on Pricelabs or just pricing in general. This is not specifically on Pricelabs. It's more of just like how to get more bookings using dynamic pricing and revenue management. I'll share my screen and kind of show you one property that we've got set up here in 1 second. All right. Yep. Screen share is working. Drop me a comment if you guys can, where you're watching from. I know a lot of people are in Charlotte, but we do have a lot of people that are not in Charlotte. So as we go through here, I am, let me just go ahead and share my screen. So this is Pricelabs. This is in one individual calendar. And if I confuse you or you're not sure what to do, stop and ask questions along the way. I'll answer them as we go. So this right here is a property that is doing very well. It's actually my property. I try to use this as an example just because I don't have to get permission to use it. But this one right here, let me make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully everybody can see this. Yep. Okay, that looks a little better. So right when you connect everything, super easy to connect. The setup is very easy. But one of the first things that I do is this little button over here. Help me choose a base price. That is essentially what do I want this base price to be for this property. So this one specifically is in Belmont, so close to Charlotte. But the biggest question I get is like, okay, what do I price this thing at? Is this a $200 a night? Is this a $250 a night property? Is this a $300 a night property? So this right here, this base price helper will help you set that up from start to finish. Once again, it's under the specific property, under calendar, and then help me choose the base price here. Obviously, yours is probably going to look a little different, but for training purposes, should be about the same. So the first couple things that I set up are let's see. So property category and then the bedroom selection. So seems pretty straightforward. Every now and then I'll like draw a little thing here. Like, for example, let's say if I think, these properties right here outside of that like comp set, I can actually draw like a little grid to only include, like, let's say Gastonia. I don't want anything in Gastonia. It's just a different market. Let's say all these right here are a good little subsection. I can like segment out those, which usually the pricing tool changes once you have that. But let me actually, do I have to save it? Okay, I got to save it actually for that to adjust. One thing that you do notice here is we do have a lake close. So this went from 260 to 312. Honestly, it's probably because it's pulling in a lot of these lake properties. Like a lot of these, I mean, that one's average price is 520, 340, 400. This property that I own is not lakefront. It's just this one right here. So I probably would, I'll probably want to clear that. You don't have to do anything, but if you want to get like super specific and carve out sections, like you could actually, let's say we only want to include, like this section, and then maybe we go, okay, here, to include this section and kind of exclude those lakefront properties. That actually, let's see how that adjusts. Yeah, so this is more of a comparable right here. This is once again, you have to hit save to save that. But for training purposes, I'm gonna clear all this and just keep it as is. I usually don't use that polygon tool, but just kind of additional functionality for you. So the first couple things that I do, whew, sorry, I'm not feeling great, but hopefully I will get better. I will get better this weekend. Property category. So this right here, you got economy, mid-scale, and as you kind of change these, the market, essentially what this tool is trying to do is get you to answer a couple questions, and then it will try and price it accordingly. Now, that's only the first step in this, which we'll go through some of the other advanced ones. But for today, I want to kind of show you how easy it is to get this thing set up. So this property, for me, I know this property. If you follow me on Instagram or watched any of these before, I appreciate it. We're redoing the game room. We actually just redesigned the entire interior of the house. We had photos Wednesday, should have them back next week. I'm super excited about it. But right now, this property is definitely, it's not an economy property, but I would say it's not really a mid-scale, definitely not upscale by any means. At some point, it will be more mid-scale to upscale once we have the pictures back. But for this property, this specific part of town, it would be economy or mid-scale. I've seen Pricelabs kind of overestimate those as well. Like even if you're like middle of the road, sometimes an economy pricing strategy would be more in line with you getting actually booked. So for this one, I'm just going to keep mid-scale. You can actually, one thing to notice here is as you toggle these, the left-hand side, you'll see all the listings show up. Like, okay, we just toggled off the 3 beds. Look at all those listings that turned on and then now turned off. So one thing that I've been preaching for a long time is I wouldn't buy a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom and up. That's just a general rule of thumb. Most markets kind of fit this mold. Don't buy a 3-bedroom or a 2-bed. Do like super small or super big. Nothing in between. Don't get into to the investor special is what I'm calling. Don't get into that 2-3 bedroom. Everybody's got a 2-3 bedroom. So just kind of point here I want to really drive home is for this one, 3 beds. This is saying, $170 a night. You've got 200 listings. Once you hit 4 beds, you've only got 67. Once you hit 5 beds, you've only got 23 on this side of the market. So it gets a lot more lucrative once you hit this kind of 4 and 5 bedroom. So this went from 170 a night to 260 a night for the 4. And let's jump up to 5 just to give you an idea. This went from 260 to 370. So the jump from 4 to even 5 is even higher. So that's why I've been saying don't buy a 3-bedroom, buy at least a 4-bedroom in most markets. That's a general rule of thumb. So this is kind of your starter thing. So most properties are economy to mid-scale. Every now and then, like if you have a luxury property, you probably know it's luxury. But most properties, like even if it's well designed, it's probably going to fall in this mid-scale range, unless you've got like all the bells and whistles, all the amenities, all the great design. If it's just kind of run of the mill, you Facebook Marketplace everything, probably on the economy side. So easy way to tell is just start clicking some of these listings. Well, I used to be able to click these and they would go straight to it. All right, so disregard that. So we're just going to stick with mid-scale here, and this is a 4-bedroom that we list this as. So I'm gonna keep this as a 4-bedroom here. So you can get like a blend if you're like a 4-bedroom plus a bonus room, if you want to kind of blend the 4 and 5s into here to get a little more here. But this one is specifically a 4-bed. So, and as you kind of scroll down, so I can collapse these. As you kind of scroll down here, this will give you the seasonality. This is probably the biggest part of the tool that just right out of the box, $20 a month per property. This is, it's automatically going to adjust. It knows that June and July are the peak seasons. As you can see, the monthly average price is like $290 versus January, February, it's $200. I know February is it should be under 200, and then June and July should be over 300. But just like base level, you don't have to know a market, especially if you're new to this or if you've never used this tool. It's trying to help you out, which it does tremendously. So nothing really to do here. This is more of just kind of information. Whenever I'm setting up a new property, I'll usually like screenshot this section on. This just gives me an idea of like where the peaks and valleys, like where do I want to be priced at. I always like to say, a smart man once told me, be the first booked during slow season and be the last booked during peak season. Peak season, like if you're in a market and you've done everything well, like you're going to get booked. So being the last man standing can potentially be a huge benefit. Slow season, not so much. If your market's only 50% occupied, 40% occupied, you want to be one of those 40%. So we're super aggressive during slow season, and then are super conservative during slow season, and then super aggressive during peak season. So this right here, I'll just like screenshot this. I don't know if you guys can see that screenshot, but I'll just screenshot it and then pull it off the side for later. And then from here, all right, you've got, you're pretty much 60, 70% set up. You could stop here and just be pretty good. This is where most hosts kind of stop. I always like to say, like, set up a market dashboard, look at the neighborhood data. I'm not going to change this. It looks like we're at 260 right here. So nothing really to change here. Another really, really important part is the neighborhood data. So you got 3 tabs up top. You got the calendar, neighborhood data, hotel data. Neighborhood data is going to be the most important one. Hotel is, if you've got like a studio or 1 bedroom, I think that's a little bit more apples to apples. For this one, not really. Like I'm comparing a 4-bedroom house with a pool, hot tub, and game room to a red roof inn. Like not even close. So I typically don't even look at the hotel data. The neighborhood data, this one is very important, and it's really cool what you can do to some of these. So a couple things here. You've got like future pricing. We'll just make sure we're priced out for the next 6 months. This right here, this is looks like PGA Championship. We got booked at $780 a night in May. So a couple month lead time here. And then we're starting, looks like this is Memorial Day. Obviously this is going to be a big weekend. We're priced at about $900 a night here. And then like you can expand this out for maybe July 4th. This is probably it. Yep. July 4th right here. We're about $1,000 a night. So I think I usually do 60 or 90 here. Make sure you toggle on the market booked price. This is the 50th percent of what your market is being booked at. Excuse me. And then I like to toggle on my upcoming bookings, which is the green. And then my last year bookings, which is the blue. So as you can see, my greens, this year booking is much better than last year bookings. Most of the greens are above the blues, which is great. Like last year at this point, we booked 284 a night, and this year we booked it at 780. Obviously, this is a great reservation, but mostly all of the greens are above the blues, which is great. It means we've done well. This property specifically, we've outpaced last year numbers by like 60%, which is pretty astronomical. This one, it defaults to this grid. I honestly think this grid is useless. Excuse me. You'll want to just change this to monthly. And then as you'll see, like if I did the next 6 months, this updates with that data. So I'll typically just do next 90 days, and then you can see this right here. So one thing that I use here is I think one of the hardest things is like figuring out if where you're at according to the market at this moment in time. Like if you look at prior 30 days, it's pretty easy to see how you did. It's harder to project what you're supposed to be doing and like where you're at, let's say first week, second week, third week of the month, like for March. How are we doing in March so far? So this one specifically, we are, let's see, we're at 45% occupancy so far. The market is at 65, and then the market ended up at last year finally 69%. So we've got a decent amount of runway here for March. Now April, we're way ahead of the curve. We're already at 83% at this property occupancy. This is, once again, this is just occupancy, not like revenue or any of those other metrics. The market finished up at about 60% last year at the end of the month. So we've still got, obviously another month and a couple weeks here. So we're already 80%. We'll honestly, knowing this property, we'll probably finish at 95% occupancy. And then through the summer, since it's got a pool and some cool outdoor amenities, we'll probably finish 90+% most of these months. But like here, I'm thinking like, okay, what's going on here? We're a little behind the mark thus far. We'll finish up. I'm sure we'll finish up. Let's see what we got in March. We've got, oh yeah, okay. So we've got next weekend still open. Couple days here, but yeah, we've got 3 days here, 4 days here that we'll get booked. This booking windows down, but we'll probably finish. I'd probably say maybe 60%. We did photos. We did some maintenance work at this property. We blocked out, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days a couple weeks ago. So that's why this is lower than normal. But on a property that had 100% vacancy or 100% of the days open, this would be like, oh crap, what's potentially going on? And then here, it could potentially be on the other side. It's like, okay, we booked out, fairly early. We're already at 83% for April. Like the market finished at 60%. Like what's going on here? Where are we underpriced? I know this one specifically was not the case. We've got a ton of great reservations. We've got a Thursday and Friday and, a Monday through Wednesday available. Like everything else is booked out in the, this one's like $340 a night. This one's $230 a night, $240 a night, $280. I think this property for April will probably do about $8,000, something like that. So I know revenue wise, that's good. Occupancy is great. May, I'm happy with this. We're just starting to kind of get into this peak season. June, we're already at 36%. So we're halfway to what the market has done year over year. So that's kind of how I use this one, and it typically comes like all with these toggled off, but I like to look at year over year just to make sure we're on the same pace. So market history here. I'm not going to go each one by one, but those are the big ones that will. One thing that I wanted to mention is you can change. So by default, it will have the nearby listings here. And I'll kind of just show you what by default it'll look like. Once you set up a market dashboard, essentially like your top 20 comps compared to this property, you can actually filter it on the screen to adjust to that. Excuse me. All right. So this is what it will naturally be filtered at. I know this one is, it's the market for bedrooms is totally different than what we've got going on here. So you can actually filter it to the market dashboard. Let's see, where are we? South End. And then you can apply that, and that'll change the graph here. So you want to always compare to the closest listings, not just the market in general. Because this property, for example, we've got a pool, we've got a hot tub, we got a game room. It's on a half an acre. Like it's super, super unique. there's not many places that have all of that. So this one is going to be on the upper end of the graph. So make sure you filter on that. Once you've set that up, I can do a completely whole different training on that. But here, kind of snapshot, the market occupancy is about 65%. Charlotte's, normal is like 50. So I've hand selected like higher tier properties, similar to here. So we've actually, let's see, I haven't looked at this in a while. So it looks like last year market occupancy in January was 38. This year was 42, so up 4%. And then February last year was 45%. This year is actually 53. So two leading indicators that we have a better market this year than last year. Let's see, booking window is down. And then you can, let's over the last 2 years. Usually, yeah. So let's go back here. So the grays 2023. So obviously occupancy for 23 compared to 24. Actually, October. Oh, this is the hurricane. Yeah, that was an anomaly. But moving forward, booking window. I know the booking window has been down. Looks like December was actually up 2024. January is down. We went from almost 3 weeks to a week and a half. Length of stay looks about the same, maybe down a day. But the indicator that I like, this ADR, is higher. Hopefully you guys can see this. Hopefully my screen's not cutting off. But last year the ADR for this was 192. This year we reached 230. February 216, we actually reached 240. So ADR year over year has been higher, which is great. I'm not going to go through this, can get super advanced, but that's kind of the high level. If you guys have any questions, drop them below. I will answer them. That's kind of high level, like the basics of Pricelabs. I flew through that. Hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming. I'll do a completely different training on the market dashboard and how to do all that. That could go for an hour. I wanted to keep it super brief today, but hopefully that was helpful with like how all this stuff connects. And one thing that I do want to say is here you've got like these little purple things are like overrides. So that's like me manually adjusting it. We're like super anal about adding and tweaking and changing the midnight stays. The system does that automatically on a lot of dates, but we're going in and adjusting those accordingly. Like for example, July 4th, we're adding a 50% premium on top of what Pricelabs is already saying. So for July 4th, we're priced at about $1,000 a night at this property. And I think we'll get it. I think we'll probably get in the, $850 to $950. But this far out, we can be super aggressive. We've already got a July reservation at $400 a night, Saturday through Wednesday, which is great. So, setting up all this correctly the first time, it's not a set and forget it. But for those hosts that are just starting out, this will make you more money. I think it's on average like 20 or 30% just having Pricelabs will make you more money. So completely worth the $20 a month investment that you pay. But cool. Appreciate everybody. If you guys are sticking with me this long, like, are you enjoying these trainings? What can I do more? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me a DM. All right. Peace. Thank you guys.